To say, oh, everybody's going to come in line and things are going to be fine, very, very naive.
We can align ourselves against the true enemy, which is China.
Trust has been lost, and that's really what worries me.
We've got a pretty heated CNN panel to hop into as these trade wars continue, and MAGA seems to be trying to claim victory in the market. So leave us a like on this video. It helps us out a ton, and let's discuss what this all really means.
Trust has been lost, and that's really what worries me. I think that investors may, say, okay, things could get finessed in the next couple of weeks, but what about 3 months from now? What about 6 months from now? What I hear from investors across the board is folks going to short-term assets, folks going to safety havens. There's also, I think, pain in the markets that we haven't seen yet. And let me point out something that is undercovered, which is that people were selling off gold and they were selling off treasuries. They don't generally sell things like that in a panic. That means that they're trying to cover losses and stem blood flow from other problems that we don't see yet in the market. We are at the very early days of this. And so to take it lightly, to say, oh, everybody's going to come in line and things are going to be fine, very, very naive.
All very pertinent points. There was a small bounce back in the market, exactly how I said would happen, where MAGA would then try to pretend it means tariffs good, haha, despite the market still being down at close. I mean, if you simply zoom out more than just a day, it was always down. The bounce back itself was from false reporting that Trump would walk tariffs back, only reaffirming the tariffs are causing the decline. Where it starts to actually get scary, however, is what this means for labor. While the market is, again, controlled mostly by the top 10%, I think 93% of it, right? When businesses lose money, though, when the shareholders lose money, they then lay off workers. So this could be indicative of how some disastrous job numbers or unemployment level might rise in the next few months as this all begins to really roll in, where China now and the EU, other countries are only threatening to escalate this trade war, which will only heighten these effects.
I mean, I guess a lot of people disagree that trade deficits are inherently bad. It's kind of like not great economics to assume that's the case, but that's neither here nor there, I guess.
A couple of things. First of all, what we saw there with Netanyahu is classic Trump quid pro quo, the transactional president. He immediately conflated the tariff issue with the $4 billion in aid that the US gives. And we've seen that again and again and again with Europe. We've seen it across the globe. What are you going to do for me?
Yeah.
That's always the answer. Never mind long-standing, Canada relations, whatever. So that's the first thing. It's a transactional quid pro quo arrangement. But Peter Navarro, and it's not often I'd ever agree with Peter Navarro, but he summed it up. You can take your tariff offer right down to zero, and it won't make a darn bit.
Some of this reaches a level of economic nuance that most of the masses wouldn't understand, but what should be easy to digest is the idea that trade deficits aren't inherently bad. Just because we buy more from them than they buy from us doesn't mean we're getting the short end of the stick. And in many cases, a trade deficit doesn't even add to the debt, right? If we need $1 billion a year in bananas, but we can't produce it ourselves for cheap enough as our consumers want to buy it, and the cheapest country to get it from only has the financial ability to import 100 million a year in cars from us, this isn't a net negative for us when what is keeping our prices so low is these cheap imports, which increases consumer spending, thus increases money in the economy and provides a wider base of taxation and economic opportunity, which is a bigger win than these poorer countries reducing their tariffs on us to zero when they aren't going to have the buying power to be impactful or increase their imports anyway. Those who do have other trading partners to not have to budge on their tariffs so easy, like China, like Russia, like the EU, which is why we're seeing them stay more true to what they believe.
If you will help us, if you will understand that we can have a fairer system here that's fair to the United States, we can align ourselves against the true enemy, which is China. And if you want to get in bed with China and think they're a trustworthy partner, that is a complete, ridiculous, stupid, terrible idea. Stick with us, be fair to us, and stick with us, and we'll align ourselves against China because they cannot be trusted.
Why should anybody want to go down that road when the US has just kicked them in the groin, damaged their own domestic economies in their various countries, and did all this without serious warning? The reason all these billionaires have gone against the administration is because of the extreme nature. None of them expected this massive
And
tariff.
these are not reciprocal in any way. These tariffs are, frankly, indiscriminate based on a formula that nobody understands and doesn't
Just
make
to
any
answer Richard.
economic sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. If China can match us in buying power, and they're going to be way less impulsive, manipulative, more trustworthy in trade with how we're indiscriminately entering trade wars with everyone now, our allies, our enemies. I mean, why would a country then not just go over to China? I mean, think about it. Trump is threatening aid from allies. He's threatening trade with allies. So why would they not begin to look elsewhere for something more consistent where they aren't just currently worrying themselves? I'm sure that also hurts their market. It also hurts their jobs. It also hurts their economy, right? Matching tariffs to these made up formulas from Trump and nobody understands and not a single economist thinks it's good. At some point, you have to wave the white flag to that. Like, this is a man who just months ago thought other countries paid the tariffs, who thought that, or who has bankrupted multiple companies himself, who has folded on deals with our allies on losing terms. I personally trust him zero to pull off any bit of success from this, and losing jobs and retirements in the meantime while he fumbles it is hardly worth it, even if there is some light at the end of the tunnel, all as he is still trying to sell to us that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. I mean, after this kind of fiasco, Social Security has never been more vindicated. Imagine if everyone on Social Security right now instead had a 401k that they were living off of.